the links to join the channel, become a member here. You get a star next to your name, I think for 99 cents, and a colored name in the chat or a name of color, or join the Subscribe Star, the Rumble, and Odyssey. And if you make videos, you absolutely want to get on Subscribe Star, especially if your videos, like, you're not feeling that your stuff is, like, just not quite, if it's not politically incorrect, because you wouldn't be allowed on YouTube for long. But I mean, it's stuff that's kind of just right on in the gray zone for YouTube. Get on Rumble, the stuff will do much better. Like, even with a channel like 1/20th the size, are like proportionally the videos on Rumble are doing way better. It's bizarre. So the Last of Us has been review bombed by gay phones. Okay, I mean, it seems like they say that quite a lot. So and yeah, I had to watch it to do the research, and it's not an easy watch. So, couldn't you just say it was love bombed by the gays or the SJW community? I mean, doesn't that happen also? Like, usually things are bell curves, right? And sometimes we're talking about these scores are inverse bell curves, where the tens and the ones get, disproportionate amount. That would be an inverse bell curve because the ends are poking up. I mean, doesn't that look a little sus when there's a lot of tens and ones? It's like, no, only the bottom score is sus. The top score is fine. It's like, it's not a 10 show. It's not a 1 show either. I'll give you that. But I mean, you just can't start throwing out. You can't just start picking and choosing. So anyway, they say that with every low score, it always applies to the bottom, but never the top end of the score. And the thing is, once you start throwing out the bottom score, okay, we'll throw out the top as well. So every show, well, that just goes to it settles on the medium mode. I don't know, the perfect average of a 5, which in all honesty is probably more accurate for this show, and I guess mathematically would be more accurate for most shows in general, right? It would have to be a 5. And it does seem like, yeah, most shows nowadays are very mediocre. Like, most shows throughout history have been mediocre. That's kind of the concept of the bell curve. But shows now, I think, yeah. So how the average show now is less than mediocre? Yes, technically, I guess that could be true because you can go back in history, or your mind's eyes of history of say watching shows for the past few decades and go, it seems like stuff was better in the past. Go to bed, Grandpa. No, it really does seem like stuff was even before my time. You can go back in the 40s and 50s and go watch like all the movies from that genre. You're like, these are slow burning, deeper movies. They are a lot better. And then you look at the modern stuff, it's like, oh, have we become dumber as a people? It looks around. Oh God. Yeah, I mean, technically, we actually have the average IQ drops every year. I'm sure that bodes well for the future. I'm sure that's just fan freaking tastic. Okay, so people like Pedro Pascal, who's in The Mandalorian and is in this, and he was in Wonder Woman, and he's fine. I know people really like him, so I mean, he's fine. He's fine. I don't say he's great. He's got charisma, but he's not. He's not like a Harrison Ford or something. But the show thing is, even though he is really good. I mean, he's good in this. He was really good in this. I'll give you that. But he doesn't elevate the show. The show is still mediocre. And people just seem really desperate to jump on board with something, anything. They want to like get into a fandom to distract themselves from this present Weimar, probably. But like the show, people are on the show because everything else is just so bad. It reminds me a lot when It's Always Sunny, I think, came on in 2006. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It wasn't genius. It just didn't suck like everything else that was around it at the time. First of all, let me say, I love the gays and the cross-dressers and whatever, all that kind of whatever. Live your best life. But you got to admit that when selling to the market, you have to sell to an audience that is big enough to support you. So these two characters in the season 1, episode 3, Bill and Frank, they have a BLT relationship. Some of it is cute, but like a little gay goes a long way. And don't take that the wrong way. I'm just talking about in terms of marketplace. You know what I'm saying with that? It's their relationship's a little bit cliche. He's like rough and gruff and soft spoken. It's like it's 2007. It's 2007 during the apocalypse, and I get it. The two characters are BLT. You're not going to be. You're like, oh hey, it's the apocalypse and we're BLT. Well, let's get to know each other because what are the odds of finding another BLT person? In 2007, like people were very comfortable being out of the closet. Maybe you're somewhere in Bumsticks, Montana or something. I get that, but it's also the apocalypse. But like, if there is ever a time to come out, like I want to wear a dress today. It's like, well, it's the apocalypse, and you've got a couple of 223s strapped around. He's like, by all means, if you want to wear a dress, you can wear a dress and carry it. I want an M60. Yeah, knock yourself out. So the thing is, though, I mean, it's a zombie movie. It's like the whole thing is cliche, and obviously, I like zombies, so that's the name of the channel. One wonders how much demand there is for this kind of thing. I mean, Bros came out a month ago, and it lost $30 million. So it doesn't seem like this kind of stuff is all too popular. And here's the thing: by all means, include the stuff in the show right up front. I mean, it gives the audience a chance to dip out of it. Though it wasn't episode 3, so it's like you kind of roped them in a little bit where if they dip out of it for now, that they've already kind of relied on the show, and you gave them a whole episode of like 90% of the episode was these two dudes. The thing is, if you support the big gay agenda, if you support stuff that you don't like, you'll get more of it. That's how it works. If you don't want to see it, you got to stop paying for it. And really, paying for any of this stuff is insane. And like supporting any of these, and I didn't want to go off on that too much because it's like, oh, well, we do support these industries, and it's like, F you for telling us what to do. I'm not. I'm just saying, it's like the Netflix after the Netflix cuties thing, or Disney firing Gina Carano. It's like how many examples of these companies being reprehensible. Eventually, you reach a line in the sand. You go like, oh yeah, well, how I can't support these people in good conscience. Anyway, so I'll admit that a little bit of their interaction is well done. You got two dudes who meet each other. They're lonely. They kind of rediscover their humanity together. It didn't need to be a BLT relationship. How dare you say that? It would have been cool just because it's like, what don't we see enough of? We don't see enough of just two straight guys who team up and rediscover how to be humans together, how to be tribal, how to rub off the rough edges, how to interact with each other and start forming something new. It's like that would have been a cool story of two straight guys who team up, and it's like that is a relationship too. It's like 99% of guys who team up are not attracted to each other. It's just biology. It's just the way it is. Not every same-sex relationship has to be BLT, and I didn't say gender because that's all stuff's all nonsense. And if you're young, like in 10 years, you'll discover like, oh, that was all just a fad after all. So it's possible for people to just be friends. It's sad that everyone has to sexualize everything. And now that I think about it, like they rushed into it, even if it was a straight relationship, like a little bit of a slower burn. It's like, hey, it's the apocalypse. We're male and female. We're obviously single. We're good looking enough. We're probably going to cleave to each other if we can stand each other. But it's like, let's get to know each other a little bit. Like, let's just have a couple of days getting to know each other. And like, it's probably going to develop into a sexual relationship, whether you're gay or straight. It's like, we can give it a week of getting to know each other, doing some chores around the farm. It's like, you can let that slowly build up. No, we're just going to rush into it. It's like, there's too much of that. There's too much about that. So the other stuff, I gotta be careful saying this on YouTube. Like I've already said a few hot words. Is the kissing. When you see two dudes kiss, it just causes it causes our brains to kind of misfire. If you're straight, you know what we're talking about when we say that. It's like seeing two guys kiss, our brain just goes into this weird loop. You should have just skipped it. The two guys playing piano together is fine. Just played Fade to Black. The guy's serving a delicious rabbit, and rabbit is delicious. With a good wine, we get it. It's like the scene in Heathers. What a classic film that was. They must be gay. They have Avion water. So the critics like this stuff because the critics are soy boys and cat ladies. If film companies went into making movies based on the critics' scores, almost everything would bomb. The audience score is what matters, or really the viewer numbers are what really matter. Because there are people who will love bomb shows, and they'll kind of virtue signal to give things high numbers. They set the argument up, or at least this guy does. The straights are so angry. It's like, oh, okay, the gays. That if you don't want to see a BLT relationship, then you're de facto a bigot, because words are losing their meaning. Words are changing such that the left and the right, they have different definitions for all these words, which doesn't bode well for society, but it's part of the cultural Bolshevik conquest of society. They have to reframe the argument such that your opinion will be referred to in the media as a negative and their opinion is valid, because obviously they have well, they do have absolute control of the media and most mainstream social media. And this is what they're pushing, this non-procreative sex, non-tribalism. It's kind of the left-hand path where it's like it doesn't lead to anything. It doesn't lead to a bright future of a man and a woman go off to form the holy trinity of three, the magic number, man and a woman and a little baby. It's like they're starting to reform something. They're starting to join a society. And it's like instead, Hollywood, the folks, dedicated like almost all of this show to something that doesn't go anywhere. It's the left-hand path away from the tribe and life, and they glorify it as much as possible. Everything they do is part of their agenda. And here's the thing: wouldn't a straight relationship find a bigger audience? Why wouldn't you do something like this? In films and games, when so many people are just it just doesn't connect with a big enough audience. Even if you did like the straight relationship, that probably would have been more interesting because it's so rarely seen. Like two people just team up and they start to form a friendship, and it doesn't develop into anything sexual because that's just the real world. People are just friends. They're trying to normalize so many things, and every day we stray further from God. Yeah, definitely. I mean, honestly, it really does feel like we're in biblical times. The thing is, there just aren't that many BLT people out there, but Hollywood, I think, is trying to do their best to convert as many kids as possible, probably for a big gay army in the future. Anyway, I hope that wasn't too many hot words for YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe, join the subscribe star. Thanks to Vegan, Ireland, and everyone else over there, and I'll see you guys all next episode.